there's this church hymn that they sing in America, which goes something along down by the riverside. That's where I
Oh,
am.
because we're recording on Riverside. I see.
There you
Very good.
go.
Very good. It took me a while, as this game week take me a while. Welcome to A Different Corner, the George Michael themed fantasy football podcast that no one asked for. And it's been a game week where I'm left wondering who's a worse manager, me or Eric Ten Hag? Luckily for me, I will be giving myself another year-long contract next year. I'm not sure the same will be said of the Man United coach. Of course, the man who deserves a long contract extension is my friend, Dr. Luman Ali. Luman, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. I think I'd be feeling even better if Ten Hag stayed in the post. And secondly, I think if I've heard correctly, you're going compliment fishing, aren't you? You want to talk about how good your last couple of weeks have been. Yeah, because your last couple of weeks have been fantastic. Don't look. I want to get into it because all of these. Oh, I don't deserve a new contract. Okay,
Okay.
let's look at you and let's look at game week 35. Right? Let's do that.
Because we missed the episode last week, so let's go for it.
We did, we did. In game week 35, the average was 52 and you got 75 points.
Mm-hmm. And you got 74 points.
And what happened with that 74 points? I used my triple captain. So you got more points than me and I used my triple captain.
Yes. Yes. It worked out for me. In game week 35, it did work out for me. I had points in a range of places. I got Isak, of course, Isak, who got me the points. And I went a bit skew if I said a few weeks ago, I've been working against my gut feeling for so long, just picking players who I think my opponents or my closest rivals will have, and instead of going from what I wanted. And so I thought, you know what? Isak, Isak, I think in 90 minutes will score more points against Sheffield United than Cole Palmer or whoever it was, Sonny Jackson in a double game week. And my hunch was came about right actually. Isak got me 26 points of my 75 in game week 35. But I also was, helped by Anthony Gordon, Bukayo Saka, Palmer did chip in. I got another strange clean sheet from Adam Smith at Bournemouth, who we've talked about previously. I did well. I did
He's
do well.
he's my he's my first signing for next season. He's my first signing for next season, Adam Smith.
We've talked about you hoarding your chips. You finally played your triple captain, one of the three that you have. Um, and you triple captained who? Tell us about you did.
So basically, I was in a situation where um, I've got four chips and there's 5 weeks left to play. And triple captain was the one I did not know when to use it. And I thought if I'm going to use it, I'm going to use it on a double game week. And if there's a player I'd use it on is Cole Palmer, and he had an absolute nightmare where he got 2 points and then he got an assist. That was hilarious to watch, by the way, because he had a free kick, it hit the crossbar, it bounced out, Jackson scores, and Cole Palmer didn't celebrate. He had a death stare. Like that guy is hungry for goals. He is absolutely famished. So yeah, had I not played that triple captain, I would have ended up on a worse week. I mean, Saka got me some points, Son got me points, Gordon got me points, Branthwaite got me points. I mean, that game week, I bought in.
You did a -4, didn't you? Actually, yeah.
Yeah. I did a -4.
Yes, you brought in. You took out Embuemo for Gordon, and you took out Gusto for Van de Ven. That's what it looks like here.
Yeah, the Van de Ven one was with one eye on more game weeks, but Spurs are absolutely awful. So yeah, all of this stuff about I don't deserve a contract extension, it's ridiculous because guess what happens the following week, which is this game week.
Yes.
You end up on 89 points without a chip, and the average was 71. How can you not be happy? Actually, you played your wild card.
I did play my wild card. I did play my wild card thinking actually, oh, I'm going to save my wild card for 37. But actually, I was looking at it, my game week 36 squad wasn't looking great for home games and stuff. So I was like, why not just go a game week earlier, get all the players that I want in. We've got what 2, 3 game weeks left. I'm left with them, but actually there's so many doubles, and it worked out. It worked out. It looks. I'm looking fairly healthy for the next game week at 37, which is what I was sort of had in my mind. But yeah, I got points fairly strong across the board. Jackson, I brought in. I had Isak already. I brought back in Haaland, which worked out, but I'll talk about him in a second. I brought in Kai Havertz and I captained Kai, which was my real. Well, as we all know, Erling Haaland scored 4 goals. Kai Havertz got 1 assist. I got Bukayo Saka in. I already had Palmer, but at the back, I brought in Branthwaite. I brought in Ben White. How do Man City score, what was it, 5 goals and Kevin De Bruyne gets nothing? Like, come on, man. He plays 78 minutes and he did nothing. What luck, what bad luck I had there. I had points on the bench with Gordon, but I mean, 89 points without captaining Haaland, you'd have to take that. But you're saying I should be pleased. If we take away your captaincy of Haaland, you still beat me. You still beat me. So
Nah, look, we'll get on to me in a second, but I want to know the thinking behind this team because you got Ortega in there, and I remember once a Man City fan, he's actually from Manchester, he told me that you never trust Pep. Like, don't believe a word he says. And there was this stuff about Edison being injured, etc. I know. Is that why you went for Ortega?
yeah, and he was at what 3.7 million or 3.6 he's gone down to. I thought let me just try it and just get some points there. My other one is a guaranteed starter. I brought in Jordan Pickford, and he came off the bench to get me 3 points. So that was the thinking there. A really cheap player, and I was worried about how do I fit Erling back in. Obviously, we're looking at 14 million plus, so I needed to make some real cheap signings. I also brought in Alfie Gilchrist at Chelsea, who also only played a minute of the weekend. So I brought in a couple duds, to be fair, but away from them, all the rest are you know, almost all doubles for the next game week. I've got a couple Arsenal boys in there, a few Arsenal boys, but I can field pretty much an 11 with doubles. There might be a couple, 1 or 2 tinkers I have to make, but really, I can do it. So the thinking was a strong field for 36, but can I get doubles in 37? I mean, I'm playing catch up in all my mini leagues, but one thing I'm sort of humbled by is I was way down overall position of like 2 million about 3 weeks ago. And I thought, can I break into the million? And I'm at 824,000th in the world. So mine is just like, can I just keep them green arrows going in some that direction, please? So yeah, I've had 2 good game weeks considering I've not had the all the chips. All my chips are now gone though. Let's talk about you, who still has chips and a very strong game week, Luman. Like seriously. In fact, if we look back, your last 3 game weeks, 134, 74 in 35, and 111 in 36. Talk to me.
For a long time, I haven't been bad, right? I have not been bad. But the difference is people have been better. That's what's killed me. It's like if I have an 80-point week, someone else is having a 110-point week. If I have a 50-point week, someone's having a 65-point week. That's what's killed me, right? That's what's killed me. So finally, I did my wild card, and I did it with two things in mind. Number one, the fixtures in game week 36, but number two, getting as many Newcastle, Man City, Chelsea players in, Spurs players in, who've got a double game week. What happened for me this week was I returned in 10 out of my 11 players returned. I could not be happier. You know, Petrovic got me a clean sheet. White got me a clean sheet. Gavardio didn't get me a clean sheet, but he got me an assist. Foden got me an assist. Palmer got me a goal. Havertz got me an assist. Saka got me a goal. Isaac, oh my God, he scored, he assisted, but he missed a penalty. And Jackson flipping it, a goal and two goals and assist. People have been talking about Jackson being as bad as Nunez. He's not. He's better than Nunez. Nunez is over. But Isaac, oh my God, I was getting serious PTSD because before Isaac scored, Callum Wilson scored. I messaged you. I thought, here we go again. Like, it was like Tropic Thunder. Here we go again. Again. You know? it was it just, but thankfully, I mean, then he misses a penalty, but thankfully he redeemed himself. And
Mm,
then, I mean, how can you not captain Haaland? The
mm,
guy has had a bad run of games, but I said to myself, you know what? He's had some criticism.
mm,
They're playing a Wolves team that aren't at the races, and Haaland's got a point to prove, and he's fit.
mm,
I knew he was going to do stuff that game. I just knew. And a lot of people did, and there were some very good points returns from other teams. Um, so, yeah, I'm happy. Um, I think I'm in a position now where I've got clear goals. So, there's a few mini leagues that I'm in that I'm not bothered about. But there's another league of people I used to work with. The top guy there is 24 points ahead of me. I'd managed to close the gap, but then last night, Tyreek Mitchell decided to have a game. I hate Tyreek Mitchell. When I put him in, he does nothing. Absolutely nothing. Honestly, that guy hate Tyreek Mitchell. So there we are. I've also worldwide jumped from 208,000 to 150,000. I need to continue on that trajectory. The question is what to do next and the players to consider. Are these double game week fixtures strong enough for you to make risks, or are you not going to do that? Because the last time round, we were talking about, oh, the fixtures don't look great, but it was a record double game week last time round. People were getting absurd points totals. The question is, right, how are the fixtures looking for you?
Not particularly. I mean, I've loaded with Newcastle, Man City, Chelsea. Um, but Chelsea play two away games. Palmer has been doing it home and away. I'm not sure if I trust Nicholas Jackson away. Man City have got two away games, but they are Man City and have got a title to win, and they're just basically beating everyone in front of them. But do I want to captain Haaland? I avoided the captaincy on Haaland, and he scored his highest total of the season. But I'm like, you know what? I feel like being different again, to my own detriment, because Isak has a home game against Brighton, and then he's got away to United. And Newcastle are trying to get that European place, and he's like in such good form. I'm kind of leaning there. So, of all the teams at the minute, Newcastle are the ones with the most favourable fixtures for me. Tottenham have got two home games. They're at home to Burnley, and they're at home to Man City. But goodness me, Spurs have shown all-time Spursy behaviour this last month or so. Like, what can you do? I'm tempted to just go for a single player than a Spurs doubler, to be honest with you.
They've lost 4 games on the bounce to
Oh,
Newcastle, Arsenal, Chelsea, and Liverpool.
and this is a team chasing Champions League football. Like, come on, man, what are you doing? So yeah, the fixtures actually don't look great, but I'm loading up even for appearance numbers. You know, a 4 from Nicholas Jackson is better than punting on a single somewhere else, possibly. Is it better than a single from Ollie Watkins? Will he score against Liverpool? I don't know. Who else is there? Who else is there striker wise? Dominic Solanke at home to Brentford, possibly. There's not much choice, so I think I'd rather, give myself two pops at the cherry sort of thing rather than the one. So that's where my thinking is. I'll probably just try to field 11 doublers, as bad as their fixtures really are. Although Arsenal are away to Man United, and I'm after after Man United's performance against Crystal Palace last night, I'm thinking, I don't mind seeing Bukayo or Kai Havertz in the team. So yeah, that's where my thinking is. That's what. What about you?
Well, when you were talking, as you were talking, I switched my captain from Haaland to Isaac for the upcoming game week. But the minute I did that, I'm not exaggerating. In my mind, the name Callum Wilson came up. Um, I'm probably going to change that now.
Can I ask
Are
you?
you? You're laughing. What are you telling? Are you telling me Callum Wilson won't start and won't
No,
score?
Callum Wilson will start, and probably in 2 games he will score. Surely he's scoring against Brighton at home. I'm thinking, and you know what? Why not against Man United away? Why not? But can you get two Newcastle strikers? I mean, of all the game weeks, this is the game week to have both Isak and Wilson in, and then you're throwing away a Haaland or a Nicholas Jackson probably to complement them, because that Newcastle's forward line to me is really tasty. Is really tasty.
But then you're talking about points hits.
Then you're talking about points hits, and we're at that time of the season, whereas a -4 could be the make or break between you and whoever's ahead of you. Every point matters. I won one of my family mini leagues by a substitute coming off the bench for 2 points, and I won it last season. So every point does
Yeah,
matter.
yeah.
But can I ask you? We're talking about strikers. I do want to ask, because in 36, I the way I messed up was not captaining Haaland, and I know lots of people captain Haaland and obviously reap the rewards. 42 points I think he got by himself if you captained him. I didn't. But how do you, as an FPL player, go into every game week with captaincy decisions? Whether you want, when do you decide, what, this week I'm going to be different? And when do you decide, I've got to go with the tide? Because this week was a go with the tide moment for a lot of players, and I went against it.
So I always go with the tide, right? But what happened was, I was telling you earlier on that I haven't been bad, it's others have been better. That when that happened, that's when I started going thinking, okay, let's do something different here. And it didn't work out. So yeah, we'll see. But I've got a very interesting situation because it's 5 game. It was 5 game weeks left and four chips to use, and this week is my final chip.
Oh, wow. What have you got left?
I've got the bench boost.
So let's have a look at yours then. So can you field basically 15, 14, 15 players, sorry, 15 players on a double?
No, I've got 12. Right, I've got 12, and it was very deliberate that 12 was because I did my transfers with the double game week in mind. The three who are not double game week players, you have one guess what team they play for.
Arsenal.
Of course. And even now, if I at most I might transfer one of those Arsenal players out for a double game week player, but again, I'm not 100% certain on that.
Can I ask you about this? Because as an Arsenal fan, obviously, we've been superb this season, and Man United have been awful. but I hold the scars from last year. I hold the scars of 20 years when we've just been just awful at times, close maybe once, and then close last season, but really mess it up. And so I hold those scars like we're not. Can't, how good are we? Like I still question like can we just roll over teams like Man City have rolled over teams? And then I think, oh gosh, going to United, as bad as they are, they've just got that thing in them where who knows? Who knows? But do other football fans look at Arsenal and that United game and think, well, that's just going to be them absolutely just tearing them apart?
Oh, 100%. Now, you got to remember this. I've said this to you before. Yes, United are bad, but I think beyond that, right now, Arsenal and Man City can convincingly beat every other team in the league apart from each other. Arsenal and Man City, Arsenal and Man City are miles ahead of everyone, miles ahead, and I've said that before. That's why I think if you look at it in context, Arsenal, the one game that they lost against Villa, right, was sandwiched between those Champions League games. That's why they lost that game. And it's not like they played badly. Trossard misses a sitter, an absolute sitter, right? And then the other game that they dropped points recently was the Man City game. True, they've won every game and they've won convincingly. I was saying for ages, Liverpool will fall off. It's just the performance, the level of performance from Man City and Arsenal. They are there's in the league. There's Man City and Arsenal performance wise, and there's everybody else. Those when Man City have been and Arsenal have been playing last few months, right? Apart from the odd game when it's been against each other or whatever,
Mm,
majority of these games aren't even close. They're blowing teams away. They're absolutely blowing teams away. I mean, look at
yeah,
Palace, right? Palace
yeah,
are a very
yeah,
good
they
team.
are.
No one's gonna in recent week, they've been doing bits, right? But then if we look at recent Palace games
Mm,
against those two teams, right? They lost
mm,
against Man City 4-2. And they haven't played Arsenal. Oh, and they lost against Arsenal 5
yeah.
0 in game week 21. So, you know, Arsenal and Man City are just, they're just doing bits at the moment. And so that's my decision I've got to make. What do I do?
It just gives me I don't that fixture. I suppose the same reason when Liverpool played United, the fixture just gives me the heebie-jeebies, and I don't know what it like. It just does. It just gives me the
Nah, nah. The difference is Liverpool have been bad against a lot of teams. They've been bad against a lot of teams. The issue with Liverpool against United was we've already had previous two games, an FA Cup and a league game at Anfield, where we had loads of chances and didn't put them away. So that's very recent experience, right? Arsenal have got the balance, they've got the confidence, they've got the goals, they've got the clean sheets. They will do it. My decision will be on what to do there. But leaving that to one side, what are you thinking about Palace and some of their players like Olise and Mateta? Do they figure in your thinking again?
holy moly. Firstly, Mateta, who was like average to poor, I'd say, in terms of output for most of the season. And then was it game week 34? He absolutely killed it. And then since then, again, he's just a spearhead in that Crystal Palace team with Eze and Elise around him. Now, Eze and Elise, holy moly, I think Jamie Carragher said they could be playing Champions League football. Eze, I've always been a fan of. Every time I hear him, he's interviewed. There's something about the guy. He's just like a good guy. It just seems, and he's excellent player. And Elise, in terms of just numbers, 5.6 million. these are the FPL stats. Okay, has delivered a double figure score in each of his last 3 home starts with 4 goals, 3 assists, and 8 bonus. But then I looked because I had Elise earlier in the season and he was doing bits for me, then got injured again. He's only played this season. Remember, we are in game week 36 coming into 37. He's only featured in 17 games this season, and some of those, a lot of those are not 90-minute matches. They're like 10 minutes here, 20 minutes there, sort of thing. He's only featured in 17 games, but in 17 appearances, he's got 9 goals, 4 assists, and 5 double-digit returns. Michael Elise's figures are output is unbelievable for FPL, really. And if he stays at Crystal Palace next season, firstly, I'm wondering how much is he going to be, because he's only played in 17 games, so they can't really price him way, way high. But secondly, apologies to Crystal Palace fans, where is he going to be playing his football? Because he's so good that really one of the big boys has got to be surely looking at him thinking he's got everything in that final third. Surely, someone. And I know he was against a very poor Man United team, but I've just quoted the figures for the season. It's not a one-off. It's not a one-off with him.
So there's been a lot of talk about Arsenal needing a striker, right? But some Arsenal fans I've spoken to have also said that they need quality backup for Saka because he's playing too many games. Surely this is a no-brainer, right? Elise or Eze?
No brainer. It's a no brainer. It's one of the two. It's a no brainer. Like, you go out and get, I think, I know, I don't know if this is rumors, but I heard something around 60 mil Crystal Palace had slapped on each of them. Genuinely, that's like a bargain. That's They are so good. They are so good. They just need to, if imagine putting them in a team, where which is even better, sort of thing. Yeah, go on.
Well, Elise has been linked with Man City.
Is he really? Ah, is he really?
The rich get richer.
The rich get richer. What? I mean, I could see it happening. Because, I mean, why not? But then, Man City, they usually make a few sales as well each summer. So I wonder who they'll get rid of. Jack Grealish hasn't played much this season.
Oh, they'll keep people on their toes. With Pep Guardiola, he does not give a stuff about your what you've done last season. He wants to know what have you done for me lately, and that's why these guys are such a phenomenal machine. But yeah, it's gonna be an interesting summer.
You know who is a phenomenal machine? We wrote him off. I said we wrote him off. We said his numbers haven't been good. He has a high profile spat with the manager, and then he comes back. Mo Salah scores 13 points. He was the most transferred out player this week. And for 7 seasons running, he has now broken the 200-point mark. Mo Salah, Luman. He is the greatest FPL player of all time now, officially, you would say, after beating Frank Lampard's 6 seasons, breaking 200 points. Mo Salah does it again. Do we have to scramble back to get him back in for 37?
The problem for people like you and I is we've done our wild cards, and to get him in is you're gonna have to make some bold moves, which will involve minusing. So yeah, he's too expensive, like to get back in.
And no double, no double.
Yeah, yeah. So and a tough game against Villa away.
Let's look at game week 37. Let's look at game week 37. We've mentioned some of the doubles. The obvious ones, you want to be getting in are the Man City guys, even though they're playing away. I'd like to think it's a tricky game away to Fulham and to Spurs, but the pep machine does just roll on. Away from that, I really like Newcastle fixtures. Newcastle are in some good form. We know who's getting points for them. Anthony Gordon, um, Isak, and your boy Callum Wilson. So we know the the usual suspects there. Spurs are just Spurs. Like, I mean, Son is the obvious one, but who knows which Spurs will turn up. Um, Away from them, then Lumen. Oh, Chelsea, of course. Nico Jackson features in a lot of teams now. And you said he's better than Darwin Nunez. Can I just ask you? We started the season absolutely slating Nico Jackson. At £7 million, he has now got how many goals and assists?
13 goals, 6 assists.
13 goals, 6 assists in his first season, Lumen. Not
And
bad.
the difference is Nunez, the price tag, he was bought in to be a difference maker.
Mm,
Nicholas Jackson was bought in as a stopgap
yeah,
whilst they go for someone else who's bigger, right? I'm basing it on that. I'd be judging Jackson more harshly if he was being brought in as a Haaland or an Mbappe type player, right? To go up front and make a difference. But that's the way I see it.
absolutely. And one player I didn't mention in that collection who has kind of turned their fortunes around is Noni Madueke, who I mentioned a few weeks ago as being just, again, low key under the radar good fantasy player, 5.3 million, and he's now playing more and more minutes in the last few games. All right, he plays over 60, which is the main thing for fantasy. And in that, 3 goals and 6 games, 3 goals, 2 assists as a 5.3, and they've got a double coming up. Albeit they're 2 away games, but Noni Madueke, I think I like him. I like him there on the wing, cuts inside very nicely. Um, okay, they're the games. Are there any single fixture teams who you're thinking, you know what? If you've got a free transfer and you're not fancying any of the doubles, is there anyone you're thinking, I don't mind. I don't mind venturing, putting my money there.
Yes, Everton. Home against Sheffield United. Sheffield United have gone down. I don't think they're going to put much of a fight. Definitely Everton. Another one to keep a close lookout on is Nottingham Forest against Chelsea. Forest haven't been as bad as people think they have been, right? I think they did a piece on Monday Night Football which showed that they've got one of the best defenses. They just unlucky they concede more goals than they should. But Forest, though, Gibbs White, that guy is consistent, right? He's had 5 goals and 10 assists this season, right? He's he's one to watch. But apart from that, I don't know any other one really.
Okay, well, let's finish off then. We're looking forward to game week 37. Lots to play for. I'm just away from fantasy. I'm just going to be Fulham supporter. Come on, West London. Come on, you cottagers. Because if anyone is taking points from Man City, it's gonna be the Whites this weekend. Lumen, will you be there?
I want Man City to win the league.
What?
I'm sorry. If Man City win the league, no one cares. It'll be like, eh. If Arsenal win the league, it'll be like, oh, and it'll be like, oh, Klopp only won one. Arteta, it'll be like, Arsenal fans will be insufferable, you know.
20 years of hurt, my friend. 20 years of hurt. You've got a soft spot for Bukayo after this season. You want him to be happy. You want to see smiling Bukayo.
If Arsenal win the league, it will matter. If Man City don't win the league, it won't matter. Also, I need Arsenal fans and other fans to feel the pain that Liverpool fans have been feeling for ages. But that's only if Man City win the league. Nothing's done yet. It's still football. Anything can happen.
I'm going to be sporting that retro Fulham. Do you remember they had the Pizza Hut sponsor on there? Show Louis Boamorte channeling the Louis Saha, Louis Boamorte, every Louis. Come on, Fulham! This is the weekend you make Arsenal. Although saying all that, I bet then Man United go and beat us. So yeah, let's see. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. But we will be there. I love how I love how this has become now our sign-off phrase. I think you should take all credit for this. But we will be there after game week 37, Lumen. I'll speak to you after that.
Yep, we will be there.